All right, I want to talk a little bit about how we learn from our heroes, our influences. We all, steal and steal and take, listen, absorb all this great music. We love it, right? But eventually comes the time you kind of have to let things go. If you're trying to, arrive at becoming, your own man or woman as an improviser or a musician. We're trying to find a voice. It doesn't mean it has to be so profound that, oh, I've got to find my voice and that's the only thing that matters. But to some people, it is the only thing that matters in their improvisation is finding an original sound and a voice that's all their own. And that doesn't mean you neglect or disrespect the influences or the heroes. It's absolutely the opposite. You take the essence of the things that these people have instilled in you, the inspiration and the ideas and knowledge, and then you use it to get where you're trying to go. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I have a course coming out on TrueFire soon. I'm going to put the pre-order link in the video here. And basically the course is about my biggest heroes, and it's bits and pieces about each of them and the things I learned from them. So it's Albert King, BB King, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, Danny Gatton, and then a twofer on the last one, Cornell Dupree and Steve Cropper, talking about rhythm playing. And I'm both mostly just talk about the greatness, that I've witnessed in listening to these guys and how much it turned me on, and I needed to learn everything I could about them and start to bring all the things into my playing. But we've all been there, right? We've all been listening to BB King and then spent the next 6 months playing like this, right? And it's like I did. I listened to BB nonstop, and that's what I wanted to do. And the next thing I knew, I was listening to Albert King, and everything I played was like this. And there's nothing wrong with learning that way. I learned everything I could by Albert King, everything I could by BB. When I got into Stevie, I started playing a Strat and a Tube Screamer, and I learned every solo note for note because I was obsessed. Same with Hendrix, same with Danny Gatton. And eventually it would be the little things, the important lessons would start to get distilled and kind of find their way into my playing as like core elements. So it started to become not just the licks and not just copying these things. It became core fundamental aspects of my playing. So in listening to Albert King, it wasn't just, oh, play this lick that goes like that. It was the emotion. It was the just bam, just hit you in the gut with soul and make you feel it, dynamics to his playing, the bends, the aggression. It became more about, okay, when I feel that way, I think of Albert King. It doesn't mean I'm going to play an Albert King lick. It means I may play trying to just knock your socks off right here because that's what I think Albert King does to me. Or when I think about BB King, it may make me want to play in a more melodic, soulful way, maybe say a little less, maybe think a little bit sophisticated, but mostly play with a lot of soul and feeling. When I think about Stevie Ray Vaughan, it's going to make me want to play with more fluidity and passion and also aggression. But to me, Stevie's a different aggression. It's almost like you have to play because your life depends on it, not because you're angry, but because you love it so much. And when I started to kind of break down my heroes in those ways and realize these were the things I was gleaning from them, that's when all of a sudden I felt like my voice started to come out because I was able to improvise using my heroes as foundational blocks as opposed to just licks that I would pull out of my encyclopedia of licks. I hope this makes sense to you guys because I think, it's important that we all go down this rabbit hole of, learning from our heroes and following them and listening to them. But, what's your end goal? If your end goal is to just sound just like one of your heroes, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you have a different goal, you need to approach things in this way. You need to like learn stuff for the sake of, learning the underlying reason that it got you excited. So I remember vividly listening to, George Benson or Bruce Foreman or, Wes Montgomery and hearing some of these jazz licks and wanting to learn them note for note. And instead focusing on what was the idea that they were highlighting in that moment, that passage, that lick that actually got me excited. So it was like I remember listening to a lick, and realizing that was melodic minor being used as a passing tone to get from the 1 to the 4, B flat melodic minor. And I didn't just learn the lick, I learned the idea behind the lick, and then it became a thing that I can use, you know. And I think it's important that you listen to your heroes in that way. You can be a fan. You can just listen for the love of listening to them. You can learn their licks. You can learn their style. But try to realize, what is it at the core that made you excited about them in the first place? You know, and I think you'll find that then you're able to call on those emotions and those feelings and bring them into your playing. I hope this wasn't a little too esoteric and out there a little bit, but I really wanted to talk about that. I've gotten some questions about heroes and things like that. Actually, one thing I used to do when listening to my heroes and learning licks would be not learn their entire solo, just learn the beginning. And I would learn like the first phrase of a solo and then go on my own. I remember playing, Stevie Ray, and the solo goes, and then going on my own. Going on my own. And kind of, it felt like I was incorporating a bit of their language and the way that they spoke, and then finding a way to expand it on my own. And it still felt like I was honoring them and playing their style and loving it, but then taking it in my own world. I remember doing that with the Allman Brothers too, and doing that with BB and Albert and Hendrix and all sorts of things like that, like on Hey Joe. And then going on my own. And I think that helped me too. That's an exercise you might want to take a look at, like learning the beginning of somebody else's solo and then going your own way. These are things that really help me in kind of, finding a way to still honor my heroes and impart the feeling and the joy and whatever, the aspects of their playing were that influenced me, having them be parts of my playing, but still feeling natural and hopefully using them as tools to help me sound like myself. So I hope that makes sense. And for the rulers, this is going to be a part of our challenge for the week. I'm going to explain it in the members video. If you're not a member, you should become one. Hit a button and join here. Become a ruler. We've got 3 tiers of rulers. And at least subscribe to the channel again, because it will keep me making videos, because effort level needs to be maintained during a pandemic and sitting here staring in front of a camera all the time. So thank you guys for the support. And yeah, man, start to think about ways to distill what it is about your heroes that you really love. So that when it comes time to play Stevie Ray Vaughan style stuff, it doesn't mean you just play the solo from Texas Flood note from note, note for note. Maybe you'll find a new way to invoke the spirit without, just aping stuff note for note. All right, everybody, ruling.